Hey everyone, I'm Danae Nicole and welcome. Thank you for joining me today. Today we are on our last Empath Mechanics course, lesson 6. It is called How to Process Emotional Energy. And so today we're going to be talking about getting triggered, what it means, who's capable of triggering us, how to balance our emotional energy, how to set boundaries, and just a few steps on what we could do to improve our overall emotional and physical self-care. All right. So if you are watching this on YouTube, this group that I teach for is called So You're an Empath, Now What? You can join us on this group. The group is free. There will be a link in the description box for my YouTube viewers, and please feel free to join us. Okay, I'm going to, if I can, reach the setting for this light because I feel like it's super bright in my eyeball. So we'll see. Yeah, I like that one a little bit better. Okay. Also, I apologize for being late this morning. There was some technical difficulties, and by technical difficulties, I mean my wig would not lay down. So like right here, it just would not. So I had to take care of that. Had to get some things going on, all right? So let's just jump right into it. Thank you again for joining me. So module 6, how to process emotional energy, and getting triggered and what it means. So triggers are anything that remind us of any type of previous trauma, right? So to be triggered, you'll have an emotional or a physical reaction, such as a panic attack, a racing heartbeat, maybe a feeling of pain in your stomach, okay? So if you have someone in your life who is a trauma trigger, they probably sprung into your mind as soon as I said trauma, right? Or a trigger, or any type of remembrance of the emotional or physical pain that was caused by that person. So those who act as a trauma trigger to an empath can have the empath feeling overcome with painful emotions just about thinking about them, or just by thinking about them. People who are triggers are sometimes filled with dark and angry energy, and they refuse to accept or change their behaviors. They also don't want to recognize how their behavior, their words, their actions affect other people. They're essentially in denial, and they will blame everyone else for what's going on around them instead of taking accountability for themselves. This might kind of sound like the definition of a narcissist, but hey, it is what it is, right? So who are triggers? It could really be anyone. It could be a family member, it can be a friend, it can be an employer, it can be a teacher, it could be anyone who is in your life. Could be an emotional trigger, and they are literally just suck the joy out of your life, right? So because you felt bad around them in the past, through experiencing their negative energy, the memory of them is capable of causing you to have a traumatic response, right? Simply by thinking of them. I'm sure that there are people who we have had experiences with, and that when someone mentions their name or you see them, you get that same feeling of that panic or that fear, that anxiety. Okay, so those are the people who are triggers, right? So if you are naturally a calm and peaceful person, a trauma trigger people will feel like pure poison and can cause a normal painful emotions and discomfort, mostly felt around your solar plexus, which is in your stomach area, and your heart area. All right. And it doesn't matter how long it's been since you've seen that person, how long it's been since someone's talked about them, or how long it's been since you've thought about them. Those same energetic feelings are going to come up, regardless of what's going on, because they did cause some type of trauma. If they felt bad to you energetically and regularly caused painful or uncomfortable emotions, you will continue to be triggered by them no matter how large of a time period has passed. But let's just remember that people who activate negative responses in empaths and become trauma triggers can ignite pain in all empaths. Okay. How to determine if it's a trauma trigger or if it's a psychic attack is something a little bit different. So a trauma trigger is when you are thinking about that person or someone else brings up their name, right? So the trauma trigger is when the energy comes to you in an open, like free flowing space, right? So if you and I are talking and I say to you, hey girl, I saw Kirk the other day, and maybe I don't intentionally try to bring up this person, but Kirk may have been someone who caused you some trauma. And so as soon as I say that person's name, you begin to feel that pain, okay? But a psychic attack is when Kirk is thinking about you negatively, right? Or even if he's thinking about you positively, but you're feeling that energy and you still respond because you have viscerally memorized that person and how their behavior caused you pain. Okay. So if you guys have any questions about any of this, please feel free to type it in the comment box. I'll see it as we go along. Remember that there is a delay, but please just ask your questions as we continue with the course. Okay. So just remember that psychic attacks generally come on randomly and out of the blue because of that person who caused the negativity in your life is thinking about you and is causing you to feel that energy from them, okay? And a trauma trigger is when someone else or you yourself bring up the thought or idea of that person, okay? So, it does take time to kind of determine if something is a psychic attack or if it's a trauma trigger. But once you are able to understand the difference and realize when it's happening, then you'll be able to control how you respond to either the trauma trigger or the psychic attack. Okay. So let's talk about how to deal with trauma triggers. Okay. First of all, it's best to just avoid those people, right? I know we've talked about it before in our previous video where we have to tell people not to allow other folks to be able to get in contact with us, right? So on our part, we have to remove them from social media. We have to remove them from being able to contact us on the phone. We have to remove their ability to contact us via email. We have to possibly leave our job. We have to possibly get away from that person as far as we possibly can, where it's not going to cause any type of financial or like overly adverse problems for us. Okay. But we also have to tell our family our friends, our coworkers, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. We have to be transparent at some times. We have to explain to them what's happening and say, if this person contacts you, do not give them any of my information, right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Sometimes it is. Sometimes we can be embarrassed. Sometimes we may not think that even though other people may know of the situation, that they would go ahead and give out our information. Some people may not even correlate that together. They may think that, things might be okay now because Kirk is asking me for such and such's phone number. Everything must be okay, right? Some people don't have that type of discernment. So you have to tell them up front, right? Because if you don't tell them, then they could always say they don't know. So you have to tell them up front, hey, don't give this person my phone number. Okay. So you can avoid trauma trigger people, but you cannot always stop them from connecting with you. Again, that goes back to the psychic attacks. The best way to deal with them is by continuing to practice your own methods of protection, right? Stay grounded and in alignment within mind, body, and spirit. So whatever you're doing to keep yourself from not allowing yourself to be exposed to them, you have to continue to do that. If you suffer from effects of trauma, triggers, or psychic attack, regularly you will likely be out of balance, or you'll have the leaky chakra or leaky aura syndromes that we've talked about in, I believe it was our EMC lesson 4, where we talked about how, or what the leaky chakra and leaky aura symptoms were and how to correct those things. All right. Again, with the leaky chakra and leaky auras, what's happening is that there are holes within your chakras, holes within your auras, and you have to learn how to close those things so that the people who are causing you any type of trauma, any type of psychic attack cannot get into your energy centers. Okay. So let's move forward. Again, if you have questions, please ask. So how to release depression and anxiety attacks as empaths. Get some water. Okay. So releasing depression and anxiety attacks. Empaths, we have the ability to experience anxiety attacks a lot more frequently than others would. And why is that? Because we absorb other people's energy, right? So thankfully, there's ways to learn how to cut the anxiety and how to not absorb those things. And we've talked about that all the way back in EMC 1, what you have to do to not absorb people's energy. Well, by putting up those protective shields, right? But since empaths pick up on the emotions of others, we will absorb their anxiety, will absorb their depression, stress. So unfortunately, we will catch people's emotional states, right? And that's why it's so important that we protect ourselves, that we put up our shields. For me, I put up my golden bubble. I have my shield of fire. I've become used to, like, the people that I'm with on a day-to-day basis, I've become used to their energy. So I know exactly what I need to use in order to protect them. Now, of course, these energy fields of protection are not things that are necessarily things that can truly be seen. It's more based off of your visualization, right? And we all know that within visualizing things, we can cause things to manifest, and we can either allow things to happen or allow things to not happen. All right. So like, as I was saying, with certain people, I've learned that there's certain shields that I need. So I have my shield of light, of golden light to protect me. That I keep up with me all the time. That's just every day. I wake up in the morning and it's there, boom. I go to bed, it's there, boom. I at night expand it to be around the house to protect those who are in the home as well. But I digress. Then there's certain people who are what I call my negative Nellies, and they have the fire, right? I will put up my shield of fire to protect myself so that all of their negativity gets burned. It just gets burned automatically. Like, I don't want it, I don't need it, because when I become negative, it's very, very difficult to turn that off. And so I've had to learn how to protect myself with the fire, okay? Then there's people who are super, super sad all the time, and they're depressed, and they just are like, they are the perpetual Eeyore, right? From Winnie the Pooh of existence, where they're just always sad. So I have the waterfall, which is like the strongest waterfall ever created. It's stronger than Niagara Falls, you know. And I have that going all the time. So all of their sadness gets washed away, because I do not like being sad. I don't like crying. I don't like the puffiness under my eyes. I don't like my eyes being red. I don't like feeling blue. I try to be, you know, maintain a source of happiness. Okay. So again, you have to be able to learn how to protect your energy from other people's energy when it comes to being an empath. When it comes to having to deal with your trauma triggers, when it comes to psychic attacks, you have to find a way that works best for you, that is going to keep others' emotional energy from taking over your emotional space. Okay? So let's kind of move forward and talk about developing boundaries. I feel like we talk about developing boundaries almost in every lesson, but it's so important that we do it, because as empaths, we want to help everyone. Like, it's just in our DNA. We want to help everyone. We want to make sure everyone's happy. We want to make sure everyone is okay. But in doing so, we have to make sure that we're okay, right? Because if mama's not happy, no one's happy, okay? So with that being said, developing boundaries is essential for empaths to maintain an emotional balance. Every empath is different, so your boundaries will need to reflect what is best for you, all right? Some things that you can do are scheduling some quiet time on your own each day to recharge, limiting the time you give to people who are emotionally draining. For me, I do that all the time. I give myself 30 minutes every day when I come home. You know, I tell my boy, like, I need 30 minutes. I close my door. I lay in the bed. I relax. I try to release everything that has gotten close to me during the day so that I can then be mom, right? So then I can then be Danae at home, so I can handle the house business, because I've been at work handling work business, and now I need to handle the house business, right? You also can make time in your life for things that are most important to you, okay? So for me, some of the things that are most important to me are just spending some time with my son, watching a movie, even if I'm not paying attention to the movie, because it's like, I don't know, some like kid stuff that I'm not really interested in, but it's the time that I'm spending with him that is most important to me. It's that quality time where he can talk to me and ask me questions, and I can try to figure out where he's coming up with all of this stuff, because it's totally amazing or totally weird or just like some boy stuff, right? Because, you know, boys are gross, you know? So making sure that you're doing things that are important to you, are things that you can use when you're setting up boundaries with others, right? Don't answer your phone, you know, when you're reading a book. You know, don't go on social media. Don't respond to all the emails after 5 p.m. You know, let it wait till tomorrow. You're allowed to live your life. You're allowed to be happy. You're allowed to do whatever you want to do that's going to cause your heart to feel fulfilled, okay? make things that are important to you a priority, right? You'll find that it will reduce your anxiety. It'll make you happier. It will reduce your depression. And I'm not saying that you may not need other things to deal with any type of mental health issues that you may be going through right now. But definitely having some form of boundaries will help with, maintaining your own happiness. Okay. Another way to set boundaries is being aware of your body, right? So the emotions of others can affect empaths in a physical as well as an emotional level. Again, we pick up other people's emotions, we can absorb them, and it can become uncomfortable. And when we do those things, especially with my like, I don't own you guys, but my friends here in the group who are medical empaths, you have to take into consideration that being a medical empath, you can absorb the people's headaches. You can become fatigued. You'll have aches. You'll have pains, that can happen with all empaths, but my focus for the particular section is for my medical empaths. Those of you who do Reiki, those of you who are doctors, those of you who are therapists, right? And so this reason for being aware of your emotions being aware of the absorption of other people's emotions and how it can have an effect on you physically is very important. You have to take care of your own physical needs, all right? Some techniques I can suggest are the grounding technique. Remember when we were talking about how you put your feet on the ground, you visualize that there are maybe roots coming from your feet going to the core of the earth, right? And you're grounded so that you can't move and that you maintain your balance, okay? That's one technique that we have talked about. You can also develop simple yoga routines to de-stress and ground yourself. You can spend time walking in nature to ground and recharge. You can get a massage, or you can massage your own hands and your own feet. Have someone help you with massaging your shoulders. Excuse me. As empaths, we also spend a lot of times in our heads. So we have to be aware of how your body feels when you're thinking of different perspectives on your life and the interaction with others. So listening to your body is vital for good health and well-being. And so what that basically means is that when you are interacting with someone and they give you that, what I like to call the eerie oompa loompa feeling, like something is just off, something isn't right, you need to pay attention to that. That is your body telling you. That is your intuition. That is your heart. That is your solar plexus. That is your throat chakra. Wherever you are feeling that eerie oompa loompa feeling, you need to pay attention to that, because your body is telling you that this person is not the best for you. Okay? They are telling you your neurological systems, I'll say. They're telling you that you need to step back a good 200-300 feet, okay? Not exaggerating, but seriously, right? Listen to your body. Your body knows you. Your body has been with you since the beginning of your time, right? In this time and space, okay? Listen to yourself. It's okay. If you're uncomfortable, move away. It's okay. If someone doesn't feel right to you, it's okay to not talk to them. You do not have to be forced to speak to anyone ever. Okay? Now, in a workplace, it might be a little bit different. But again, use your protective shields to keep their energy from being absorbed into your body. All right? Okay. Now I want to talk to you about balancing your nervous systems, right? Remember when in our first lesson together, I was talking about how there's the mirror neuron in our brain. So it's basically in the area of our basal ganglia. And if I recall, it's kind of like up here, but in the middle. If I can recall, it's either up, it was somewhere like in between here, okay? And what happens with our mirror neurons is that we empaths, that mirror in us, it's a little bit stronger than other people. And so that's one of the reasons why we're able to absorb the emotional energy of others, or even we kind of will begin to mimic the people that we're around the most. All right. And with that being said, sometimes our mirror neurons can become overactive, right? And that's why and because of this, they'll pick up on the anxieties and the impressions of others. And that's why we're able to then become anxious or depressed or anything like that, because of the fact that our mirror neurons are super, super strong. All right. So when you're spending time listening to people's fears or complaints, it can trigger for your nervous system to go into overdrive. All right. And being in overdrive can cause more stress, more anxiety, long-term health issues such as high blood pressure and autoimmune diseases. So there are ways that you can learn to calm down your nervous system. Also, with that being said, for women, viscerally, and so what viscerally is like, we are a lot more emotional than men, just off top, just because we're women. That's how we are built, right? So you're a woman, you're an empath, and so now you're viscerally more sensitive. Your mirror neurons are stronger. Okay, that's why it's so important for us. And I'm not saying men don't need rest either, but that's why it's so important for us females to get rest and to take care of our bodies. Like, self-care is super, super important. I'll talk about that a little bit later. All right. But we have to be more diligent in soothing our nervous system. Okay, it might take a lot more practice or a lot more time. We might have to learn techniques to be able to do that. Between, like, for me, from leaving my job to picking up my son from daycare, it's about a 27-minute drive. In those 27 minutes, I have learned different techniques to help me kind of just relax from the day. And depending on the day will determine on what techniques I need to use. Now, I can't meditate because I can't close my eyes while I'm driving, but I can listen to soft music. I can just not have any music on and just kind of let my thoughts wander, or kind of think about the day and kind of think about how I'm going to address certain issues that may have come up that day for tomorrow, right? There's certain things that you can do. I have a like a stress ball, and sometimes while I'm driving, I'll just squeeze it, or I'll hold a worry rock and I'll just rub it, just kind of to soothe myself, so that when I do get home, or when I do get to the daycare to pick up my son, then I'm prepared to have whatever conversations that he needs to have. Excuse me. It will allow me to focus on him, right? Prepare myself for him. Prepare myself for the mood that he might be in, right? Because as I've told you before, my son also is an empath and a highly sensitive person. So he's still trying to figure out how to work through all the emotions of the day. He's still working on grounding. He's still working on using different coping skills and mechanisms to help him remove the energy that may be his and may not be his, right? So again, you have to come up with your own ways of, or techniques of dealing or soothing yourself. All right. And so here are some things that I've come up with that could be helpful. Taking time for meditation or mindfulness routine to calm your nervous system, or using relaxing essential oils such as lavender, chamomile, or bergamot. So you can use these oils in a diffuser. You can add them into massage oils. You can put it in your bathtub. I saw this really cool thing on Pinterest where people were putting up eucalyptus, the actual plant, and hanging it from their what is that? The shower nozzle, you know, where the water comes out, and the steam from your shower will cause the smell or the essential oils from the eucalyptus to fill your bath space, and it will help you to relax. So I'm gonna actually try to do that. There's some eucalyptus plants out in what are they called? A little garden area by my job. Don't tell anybody, okay? But I'm gonna go take some and put it in my bathroom to see if it helps me. You can protect yourself by learning emotional shielding techniques to help you keep others' emotions separate from yours. Being aware of your nervous system can help you to step out of the flight or fight mode and remain calm even when you experience difficult situations. All right? Again, protect yourself. Learn techniques to soothe yourself, and that will decrease, hopefully it will help decrease the anxieties, depressions, or other emotions that you're getting from other people that you're around. All right. Number 4 is find yourself. So empaths often find it hard to distinguish which emotions belong to them or others. So this is why empaths often feel anxious without knowing why. In order to disentangle our own thoughts, feelings, and emotions from those of others, we have to get to know our innermost selves better. And by doing so, you can try journaling, okay? Journal about your thoughts and your feelings regularly. Take time out in your day to just kind of start processing things. If it's in the morning, if it's in the afternoon, if you want to do it on your lunch break, if you want to do it when you get home, if you want to do it at night right before bed, turn off the TV, sit in your bed, journal a little bit. Wherever you feel comfortable, journaling will help you significantly. Well, I'll say this, journaling helped me significantly. Every night I write something in my journal. It's not a thesis or anything like that. Maybe just a couple of sentences to just kind of process how I'm feeling at the moment. But I do journal, okay? You can engage in creative pursuits such as art, cooking, or gardening to tune out the thoughts and express yourself. I don't do too much gardening only because there's bugs, right? I have this thing, I don't like creepy crawly things, but I do like mowing the lawn, which is weird. So that's kind of like a place where I like to go and just kind of let my mind wander. I used to paint a lot, and I've kind of gotten out of that since I've moved here from Ohio. So I really haven't been painting, but I do color with my son. We'll do our art projects together. But that's something that I would like to get back into. Maybe I'll go buy easel. So, anywho, I digress. Squirrel. You can also get out and about on your own from time to time, so you can enjoy things without worrying about how others are feeling. So I'll give you an example of that. Sometimes I just like to go to the makeup store, you know? Like last night I went to Ulta just to get out. My plan was to go to the gym. The gym closed early for whatever reason, I don't know. And so then I ended up going to Ulta. And I just walked around. I didn't buy anything. I just looked at everything, was happy with the prettiness of the eyeshadows and the makeups and all of that. You know, but that's just something that I do to kind of give myself just a little bit of free time. Again, it's important to allow time for you to pursue your own goals and your own pursuits, okay? Your dreams are just as important as anybody else's. And again, if you take care of yourself, then you'll be able to take care of others. You should always be your first priority. right? Because you are always going to be with you. Does that make sense? Let's move forward on how to quickly process emotional energy. So we are emotional creatures. We were born to express emotions freely and openly. Somewhere along the way, however, many of us have learned that we shouldn't do that. In order to be accepted by others, we have learned to regulate how we express ourselves emotionally. Sometimes that can be good because you don't want to be at work screaming and yelling, acting a fool. You know, you don't want to be caught being crazy out at the mall, right? So, yes, there is a time and a place to express yourself. However, there are ways to express how you're feeling appropriately, right? But primarily we will push inside of ourselves feelings that are considered to be negative. And I just want to say that you should express your negative feelings, because keeping them bottled up, like, eventually they will just splurt all out over the concrete, you know, and there's no way really to clean that up. You have to at some point resolve emotions so that you can express how you feel in a manner that will not only be helpful to whoever you're speaking to so that they can understand you, but in a manner so that you can convey how you feel without reacting to the stimulus of what caused you to feel that way. I hope I'm explaining that in a way that doesn't make anyone feel like they are wrong in how they express themselves. But there are ways that you can show that you're angry or express to people in words that you're angry without being violent. Okay? So let's move forward and I'll kind of explain some things as we go along, right? So I'll give you an example. So I've learned how to bury my feelings inside, right? So that I wouldn't be emotional. And what I've learned is that, again, going back to the triggers, is that when someone triggers me and all those emotions have been suppressed and they just come out like vomit, right? And so I've had to learn how to take those emotions that were unresolved and that I had allowed to build up and fester in my body, how to release them so that they would no longer drain my energy, cause burnout, cause any type of emotional imbalance, and, you know, cause like physical dis-ease, right? So when you chronically repress your emotions, it can create toxicity in your body, mind, and in your heart. And I've learned this from experience, so I'm not just like talking any type of jibber jabber, right? The unprocessed emotional energy can be stored in your organs, your muscles, and your tissues. It can lead to inflammation, chronic health problems, and it undermines our overall well-being. All right? So you have to find whatever way works for you. Excuse me. You have to find whatever ways work for you to remove emotional stress, trauma, whatever, dis-ease from you as you're going through it, so that it doesn't stay stuck in your body, whether if it's in your spiritual body, your mind, your physical body, you know, so your muscles. I know when I how do I say, when I have emotional things going on, it gets stuck right here in my neck. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's like it gets really, really tight right here. And I know that it's there, and I start to hunch over and I'm like this. So I And it doesn't seem like any amount of stretching really necessarily helps, but it's there. And so I've had to learn ways to address pains, angers as it's happening. And I've had to learn how to express anger through love, which may sound totally like backwards, but it's helped me. So when I'm angry with someone or about something, I have to take a moment and relax and just try to release that energy. And then I have to speak on it, or I have to think about how I would tell someone about how they've hurt me in a loving way. Sometimes it's very, very difficult. Sometimes I fail at it, but I try. And I've found that when I do speak from love, the other person is able to hear me. They're able to hear me very clearly, and they're able to see how they've hurt me. And then it leads them to righting their wrong and apologizing. And it leads them to changing their behavior so that they know that what they did is wrong and how they can better communicate or behave when it comes to me, and vice versa. I've had to acknowledge things, how I've hurt people. I've had to step back and see how my behavior was hurtful or caused pain to someone else. And when they have spoken to me with love, then I was able to hear them with love. And it causes things to kind of work its own self out. Okay? So I want to give you guys 3 steps to processing emotional energy stuck in your body. Okay? So this is the opposite of repression, is expression. In order to process our emotional distress and move it through and out of our body so it doesn't get stuck there, we need to learn to express our emotions in a healthy way, in the body and mind. But first we need to learn to recognize and accept our feelings as they come and go. So the first step is to recognize. This would be self-awareness. And what I would like to do for this section, because there is so much information, I don't want to miss any of it, and I want to make sure that you guys understand fully what I'm trying to say. What I would like to do is just read what I've written here. And again, if you have any questions, if I'm not speaking clearly, if you don't understand, if you need another example, please put something in the comment section. Okay. We know that there is a delay with Facebook Live. So if I have to go back, I'll go back. I do not mind. I want to make sure that with this last course, we all have a better understanding of our empathic life. Okay. So step 1 is recognize self-awareness. The challenge is to recognize the emotion and feel it in your body. This is where mindfulness comes in, okay? The goal is to notice what is happening within our body, accept it, and to feel it fully without judgment, all right? So according to the Buddhist teachings, it tells us that human suffering is caused by aversion and resistance to what is happening. Acceptance is liberating. And the practice of RAIN, which stands for recognize, allow, investigate, and nourish, teaches us to accept our moment-to-moment experience instead of running from it. It teaches us to face any difficulty head on with self-compassion and understanding, and it will eventually pass, okay? So you're recognizing how you're feeling. You're acknowledging it, right? You investigate it. You try to figure out, why do I feel this way? Why am I angry right now? Is it me? Is it someone else? Okay. You nourish it. That means that you're compassionate with yourself. If it's your feelings that you're having, have compassion for yourself. It's okay to feel how you feel. Be compassionate. Don't beat yourself up about how you feel. It's how you feel, right? Your feelings are just as valid as anyone else's feelings. Okay. So have compassion for yourself. Understand where it's coming from and figure out how you need to work through it. Okay? We have to feel it to heal it, and we have to fully experience the emotion in order to process and integrate it into our experience. So what that means is that you can't move forward on something if you haven't acknowledged it and understood it. Like, you can try to forget it, but when you try to forget it, it's just going to fester in your body. It's going to cause problems. You're going to have to go back through it, or it's going to like just be sitting there for years. And then all of a sudden you're at the dinner table and you're just like throwing your salad across the room because somebody said the word boogaloo, and you remembered back in 1972 how you went to the boogaloo and somebody stepped on your shoes that you just got, and you were really upset about it, and then you couldn't wear them ever again. You see, I know that's an exaggeration, but it could happen that way, you know? And it does happen, where some random thing will remind you of something that happened that you have not allowed to process, and now everyone's looking at you like, girl, what's the deal? What's happening? What's this coming from? Are you crazy? Have you been taking your meds? All right? So practice mindfulness to get better at recognizing your feelings and observing the bodily sensations connecting to those feelings as they come and go throughout the day. Offer yourself self-compassion and as you go through more difficult emotions. So a way to practice mindfulness is to sit still for a few minutes with your eyes closed, listening to your body, and become curious, right? So these are some of the questions that you can ask yourself. What does your body feel like right now? Is there any pressure or tingling? If so, where? Do you feel heavy, hot, contracted, warm, or cold? What is the texture, weight, and shape of sensations you notice in your body? What emotions are those sensations connected to? Can you breathe into the parts that call your attention? And what do those parts of your body want to tell you? And what do they want? All right. That's for practicing mindfulness. Step 2 is to respond with self-expression. Emotions need to be expressed to be processed. The goal is to move the energy of emotion through and out the body so we can let it go. This self-expression must be authentic and embodied. Remember that true healing occurs when the body and mind integrate. So express the emotion on the bodily level first and foremost, okay? So what that means is that express how you feel. You know, you can even start, like, let's say you don't feel comfortable with expressing yourself when you're angry. Why don't you express yourself when you're happy, when something good happens, right? Express yourself in a manner that is healthy, right? You can just say, oh, I am so happy right now. I feel so much joy in my fill in the blank. I feel so much joy in my heart. I am so happy that this happened. I feel great. I feel like I am walking on clouds. I feel like I could run a marathon. I'm so filled with love. I'm so filled with happiness. I'm so filled with gratitude. You know, you can try practicing expressing your positives first if you don't feel comfortable or you don't feel like you're strong enough to express your negative emotions, right? And it's also a lot easier to express yourself when you're happy, you know? So once you may feel more comfortable by expressing yourself, expressing your happiness, then you can possibly work on expressing your anger, right? Because you've had practice. You know how to think about what you're going to say before you say it. Okay? Oh, I need to turn the page. So again, self-expression must be authentic and embodied. Still, while you're sitting in your space of mindfulness, you can ask yourself, what does this emotion you just connected with need from you? And what feels right in this moment? What do you need? So maybe you feel like you need to cry, scream into a pillow, go for a swim, walk or run, dance it out, hit a punching bag, do some gardening, some tapping, yoga, or painting your feelings out, or simply breathe deeply while facing the sun, okay? Whatever is more cathartic for you in the moment, that is what you should do, okay? So if something is going on and you need to excuse yourself from the room, Excuse yourself from the room. Don't sit there and let the anger build up and you're filling the room with heat because you're upset, okay? Just go ahead and exit. It'll be okay. People will get over it and you'll probably feel a lot better. Um, but once you do things, whatever is more cathartic for you, once you do those things, it will free the poisonous emotions that you're carrying within yourself. Okay, so it's kind of like breaking the shackles. Okay. You can follow this. You can follow this step with one of the best forms of emotional healing, which is journaling. I think I've mentioned that earlier today. Where writing can be very therapeutic. Can be a very therapeutic experience of self-discovery, reconnecting with your true self, and processing your deepest feelings and emotions. Okay. So with journaling, you can, well, I suggest that you write in your internal voice. So the voice that you use when you're talking to yourself in your head, that's the voice that you're going to use to write with. We process and make sense of what is happening within us and around us, and we gain perspective. So by writing about our fears and hurts, we can look at them from a distance, detach from their grip, and eventually let them go. Okay, that release can be truly healing. So with journaling, you can journal every day. You can journal once a week. I journal every day. Sometimes I miss a couple of days if I just get too busy, but I do try to journal every day. With journaling, the best part is that it's not like you're writing a paper for school or for your job or sending a professional email. You literally can write however you feel you want to write. You can do bullet journaling where you just write one word of how you feel. You can write about your whole day. You don't have to use periods. You don't have to care about your grammar. You can just write. It's literally just free writing, and you are able to do as much as you want. Okay. And so over time, your journal will become your safe space, and for you to feel free and get unstuck and move forward. Okay. So when I started journaling, it was kind of all over the place. I know earlier this week I had posted a little like video kind of 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 and I titled it Busy Mind, and then I put meditate, right? And so when I first started journaling, that's literally what my mind looked like. There was 700 things going on that I wanted to write about, and I would just put it all down. Okay. And you can do that too. It's similar to like when you have 700 computer screens open, it's like that. You can put as much down as you want, or you can put down the least amount of information that you want. It's totally up to you. Journaling is just so that you can process your emotions and kind of get them out of your head, right? We often don't have the time and space to process emotions in the moment. So make sure that you allow yourself the space to feel the emotions you've had through the day and journal about it at the end of each day. Again, that's up to you when you journal. I like to journal at the end of the day just because I've had time to live through the day, all right? A writing prompt that could be helpful is, what is happening in your life right now that you wish you could change? What is the biggest source of frustration? And then as you write, notice the sensations in your body, okay? Tune into the parts that are numb, in pain, frozen, hot, the sensations that you're feeling, the tingling, the sweating, stuff like that, okay? And what are they trying to tell you? What needs healing? What needs attention? And what needs change? All right. Step number 3 is reset and self-care. This is probably one of my favorites. I love a good self-care session, okay? So if we habitually neglect our bodies and ignore our emotions, we have to rededicate ourselves to our body mind through self-care and indulge in healing habits that will bring on the feeling of well-being. Okay, so the goal is to realign back to our authentic self, reset ourselves back to relax and open state, and come back to wellness and balance. Okay, so a way that you can practice self-care is to take time to slow down and be alone, get out into nature, make art, listen to music while you cook, or while you cook your favorite dinner, meditate to cleanse your mind and relax your body, take a double excuse me, a bubble bath or a nap to restore your body. Take good care of yourself to awaken to life's joy and simple pleasures that will nourish your body, mind, and soul. So, what are some things that you all do to practice your self-care? I like to do a good facial, right? I like to wash my face really good, do an exfoliation, put on a mask. I'll put on like a mask to remove excess oils, and then I'll do a mask to soothe my skin. So a mask that has lavender in it, okay? Sometimes I will oil and massage my scalp really well. Or I will give myself a pedicure and massage my feet really, really deep, you know, especially if I've been standing all day. But I would like to know what some of the things that you guys do, if you don't mind sharing with me. So as you guys type, if you feel like sharing, I'll move on and I'll talk about forgiveness and why it is non-negotiable for empaths. This is our last section. It's pretty detailed. I like a good story once in a while, okay? So if you guys just hang in there with me, we'll be done pretty soon, okay? So forgiveness and why it's non-negotiable for empaths. So forgiveness is a paradigm-shifting solution for transforming anger. I'm going to repeat that because that was a lot. Forgiveness is a paradigm-shifting solution for transforming anger. It liberates you from the trap of endless revenge so that you can experience more joy and connection. Forgiveness does more for you than anyone else can because it liberates you from negativity and lets you move forward. Forgiving might not make anger totally dissolve, but it will give you the freedom of knowing you are so much more. Okay, so Miss Davis, for you said you like to burn sage, soak in the tub, and lavender with Epsom salt. Oh, that's good. I love good Epsom salt. And use, okay, and then massage your body and that holds the most tension. That's really good. I like that. That's really good. Forgiveness is the act of compassionately releasing the desire to punish someone or yourself or for offense. It's a state of grace. Nothing you can force or pretend. There are no shortcuts. Some wanting to be spiritual. Let me fix this. Why is that doing that? Okay, never mind. Wanting to be spiritual have prematurely tried to forgive after someone emotionally knives them in the gut. First, you must feel anger before you can begin to forgive. Okay, so revenge is the desire to get even when someone does you wrong. It's natural to feel angry. It's natural to want to say, I'm not gonna let that whoop 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 get away with this, right? But again, revenge will reduce you to your worst self, okay? I like to just think that when someone does you wrong, even though you want to get back at them, you'll save a lot of your energy if you don't. And if you just let karma or the natural cycles of the universe to just take control. Give that situation to whoever your higher power is and let your higher power deal with that revenge. All right? Because by you taking revenge, you could miss out on what you are supposed to be blessed with. And that's real talk. Like no tea, like no extra, like you will miss out on the goodness that was going to come to you. Like honestly, if someone does you wrong and you take revenge, then you could be telling the universe at that time that you don't deserve or you really don't want the blessing that you've been working so hard for. Okay? So not taking revenge doesn't make you a pushover, right? You're just refusing to act in a destructive way. That is what, like, antithetical to finding peace. Okay, and antithetical means contradictory to. So you shouldn't do things that are contradictory to what you are trying to gain or manifest in your life. All right, so yeah, that's, I don't really think I need to go into any more explanation about that. Okay, it's been explained. Okay. I found this quote by Confucius, and it said, "Before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves." So what I'm suggesting is to turn the other cheek. You're still doing everything to preserve what's important to you. I know a hard thing can be watching someone get away with something, but they're just getting away with it for the time being. Tomorrow's a different day, right? And even if it goes on for years where they've gotten away with doing something that wronged you, please believe that there is something called, sorry about that, I got a phone call which I shouldn't have gotten. That was really weird because I had put on my no disturb, but still I was able to get a phone call to come through, and I didn't like that. Apple, what's going on? What are you guys doing here with my phone? I'm sorry, I'm digressing. I got a little upset. Like, there shouldn't have been any phone calls coming through, but one just came through, and that really irritated me. So, anywho, let's move forward. As I was saying, there are things such as sins of the father where the karma will come back on their kin, their next of kin, whatever the case may be. So you don't have to do anything. The revenge will come on to that person. Even if it's not necessarily attached to you, it could come through somebody else, right? But there will be a revenge, and you shouldn't have to worry about it. You just keep living your positive life that you're trying to lead to, that you can have the things that you feel that you deserve and that you've worked so hard for. Okay, again, take solace in the notion of karma, that sooner or later what goes around comes around. Also know that the best revenge is your success, happiness, and the triumph of not giving vindictive people any dominion over your peace of mind. All right, so forgiveness refers to the actor, not the act, not to the offense, but the woundedness of the offender. This doesn't mean you'll run back to your battering spouse because of compassion for the damaged person he or she is. Of course, you want to spare yourself mistreatment. However, from a distance, you can try to forgive the conscious or unconscious suffering that motivates people. Our desire to transform anger is a summoning of peace, well worth of necessary soul stretching. The emotional action step: be bigger than anger. Practice forgiveness now. So what you can do is identify one person that you're angry with. Start with someone low on the list. It doesn't have to be your overbearing and controlling father. Okay, it could be the grocery clerk who didn't double bag your groceries and your food ended up falling out of the bag. Okay, forgive that person. You can once you identify the person that you're angry with, then you can get a taste of forgiveness quickly. After that, you can proceed to tackle more challenging targets. Okay, honestly, address your feelings, talk to friends, your therapist, or other supportive people, but get the anger out. All right. Again, going back to, you can also get the anger out through journaling. When you forgive someone, you don't necessarily have to be in their face to tell them that you forgive them. You can just forgive them and let it go and just say, I forgive you. I forgive you. You let go of the thoughts of it. You let go of the pain of it. You just forgive that person. You forgive yourself for allowing them the opportunity to hurt you in any way, right? Maybe you made some mistakes and that opened up the door for them to be able to hurt you, whatever the case may be. Like going back to the grocer who didn't double bag your groceries. Did you ask them to double bag your groceries? You see what I'm saying? So again, Forgiveness is in the actor, not the act. Okay. So some examples of forgiveness is a good friend acts inconsiderately when she's having a bad day. Remember, nobody's perfect. You may want to let the incident slide. Okay. Learn to pick your battles. If you do mention it, don't make this one-time slight into a big deal. Just give your friend a break and forgive the lapse. Okay. Sometimes people may not even be aware that when they are being inconsiderate, right? They might not even notice. They may not have that healthy relationship with themselves to know when they're treating others differently because of their own behavior. Some people might, some people don't. You just forgive and you move on, okay? Do you address it? Sure. Bring it to their attention, especially if they do it all the time, right? But again, live and let live, forgive and move on. If they continue to do the same thing, then maybe you need to change your interactions with that person and continue to go on with your day. Okay? Another example is a coworker takes credit for your ideas. Do damage control, whether it means mentioning this situation to the coworker, your boss, or human resources, and don't trust her with ideas in the future. However, try to forgive the coworker for being such a greedy, insecure, mean-spirited person that she has to stoop so low to steal from you. All right, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Lastly, your mother-in-law is needy or demanding. Keep setting kind but firm boundaries. So over time, you can reach palatable compromises. But also have mercy on the insecurities beneath her neediness and demands. Perhaps fear of being alone, of aging, and being excluded from the family, of not being heard. This will soften your response to her. Okay, so you're going to have to keep in mind that sometimes people may be doing stuff because they are insecure, because they don't know any other way to express themselves. All right, but you have to, fortunately and unfortunately, you have to be the bigger person to get through it. So again, I just want to thank everyone for joining me today. I know this past week has been a little bit weird. You know, my fence had fallen, or not the fence, the whole brick wall right in the backyard fell down. That was super stressful, but everything is being worked out. Hopefully I'll be getting back into things slowly but surely. But this was our last Empath Mechanics course. Module 6 on how to process emotional energy. I really want to thank all of you who have watched these videos, who have participated, who have contacted me about them, whether if it was on our Facebook page or through YouTube, messaging, whatever the case may be. I just really wanted to do something that was going to be helpful, all right? I am developing another series that will hopefully be coming out within, I don't want to give you guys a time, but just know that when I'm ready to share it with you all, I will, and I will post the videos here on Facebook and on YouTube. Miss Davis, this was really great. Thank you so much for doing this. Oh, no problem. It's not a problem. I really enjoyed it. You know, going through everything and putting everything into lessons kind of brought things into perspective. Like, I've learned so much over the years. So I'm just so thankful that I was able to share this information with you all. If any of you are interested in doing any more types of courses like this, please let me know. Or even if you wanted to do private sessions with me, I do have a webpage where we can explore different life-changing things that you may be going through. And if you just wanted to have a consult, I'm available for that. You would have to pay for it, but you know, it's your life to decide if you want to move forward and have some groundbreaking paradigms happen. I would be very, very happy to help you with that. So again, I will see you guys later. I will have another course coming out. And when I do finalize everything, I will share it with you here, and then we'll begin the process. Okay, so again, I thank you guys so much, and I will see you later. Bye.